All right, everyone. So the Steelers and the Jets are going head to head, and this is one of the most interesting games of week one because obviously Aaron Rodgers, now on the Steelers, is facing off against his old team, and things didn't go great there. On the reverse side of this, the Jets are playing Aaron Rodgers, and Justin Fields, he was just on the Steelers, right? So he probably feels a little bit slighted by the organization when, they just weren't going to pay him the same that the Jets would pay him. So this is what we're looking at when we come into this game. The Jets are 3-point underdogs at home. The Steelers are -3. The total for this game is over 38.5. On the money line, we have -155. And on the Jets side of this, the money line is +130. So as we always do, we're going to go through this and give you an argument for why both sides can cover here. So let's start with the Steelers. Now, the Steelers, for years, okay, have had this elite defense and just have not been able to figure out that quarterback position. Well, when I look at bringing in Aaron Rodgers, I have a little bit of a different view than I think many people in the media and others have been talking about. A lot of people think Aaron Rodgers, he just cannot play quarterback anymore, right? Look at what happened with the Jets. It's tough for me to put that kind of blame on on Aaron Rodgers for the New York Jets because there was a lot of other issues going on there, and I really think that he never really got a fair shake in terms of having a solid foundation year to see how good that team can actually be. Mike Tomlin's team is not going to be that. Okay, Mike Tomlin is going to have a very fundamentally sound team. There's not going to be all these distractions. You brought in DK Metcalf, who I do think is going to be a major, major boost, and you're going to have a run game. And so Aaron Rodgers might not be MVP Aaron Rodgers that we remember from back in the day, but can he be better than the quarterback play that we've seen over the past few seasons for the Pittsburgh Steelers? 110%. And you pair that with the Jets team that, yes, this defense has been very, very good over the past few seasons, but this is a defense that might struggle to stop the running game. And if they struggle to stop the running game, can Aaron Rodgers hit DK Metcalf on a deep route? Can he get some free points here and find a way to win? There's a potential of that, right? I just think the Steelers are very good on defense. And on the offensive end, I think Aaron Rodgers will give them an added boost to help out. Also, when we're talking about the Jets, there is a lot to love. And if you watch our other channel where we do sports news, I love everything about Aaron Glenn. I think he's bringing what is needed to this Jets team. I think he's creating a culture. And I have no problem with him saying, look, we're not going to be going forward with Aaron Rodgers because he just wants a reset. I have no issue with it. With that being said, this doesn't mean that everything is going to look pretty at all times this year. And that includes this game because Justin Fields, we just don't know what we're fully getting with him at this point. And if the preseason, if the kind of training camp stuff is any tell, a little bit of hesitancy here. Right now, Justin Fields can have those games where he just makes big plays, right? Where he's running the ball and he's just making the correct play. He may very well do that this season. But with the Steelers defense, if they make life miserable for him and this thing is a defensive battle in terms of the Jets can't do anything and the Steelers, like in that type of game, I do trust the Steelers to be able to make more plays than the Jets. The flip side of this, what can the Jets do, right? How can the Jets cover this game? I think it's very simple. Mike Tomlin through the years, this is a spot where it's not that he may not win, but this is a spot where he doesn't cover, right? He's a favorite on the road. This is a spot where people are always ready to bet Mike Tomlin, and then it ends up the other team covers, even if they end up winning this football game. So I don't take that out of the question at all. I think that's a trend, and that's something that certainly could come to play. The other version of this is that I do think Aaron Glenn already has affected the culture of this team. I think he is bringing a no nonsense attitude to a team that for the past few years has just been a circus, and I think Woody Johnson, the owner, I think he would be smart to not do what he's done over the past few years and to just stay out of any discussion about anything football related with this team. Aaron Glenn is going to do this job. You saw it last year with the Detroit Lions. I understand Dan Campbell was the head coach, but that defense had a ton of injuries. That defense, and it wasn't even good, like elite when you had everybody in there. And what he was able to do in the playoffs, throughout the regular season, even with those injuries, to just have that defense to a point where the Lions could have as good of a season as they did. I thought was amazing. And so he could bring that here. If there's one guy, right, that can make it so that Justin Fields and Garrett Wilson and all of these star players on offense just make those right plays, I think it can be Aaron Glenn. We know the Jets have a pretty good defense. If those all of those forces are kind of rowing in the same direction and they could make life miserable for Aaron Rodgers, and Justin Fields makes a few big plays, could I see them covering a 3-point spread? And that's the key number 110%. Okay. And also, just to kind of go against the argument I made on the Steelers side, there is a world in which Aaron Rodgers is just not really a good quarterback anymore, right? And the Steelers kind of have a similar offense to past years. And if that's the case, then the Steelers can lose any game. I love their defense, but if the offense can't perform, okay, they're going to have some problems. And I do think they made a slight error, and I'm not going to, it's yet to be seen, but I love the addition of DK Metcalf. But when you lose Pickens, you may get a slight improvement, but you're not overloading this offense with talent. I really want to see the Steelers team with a DK Metcalf and a George Pickens. So now you have multiple options. And so because they only have DK Metcalf at this point, right? He is that big name receiver. If the Jets can shut him down, we may see an offense, and they could shut down the run game. We may see an offense more similar to past years, in which case the Jets are at home. They can more certainly cover this spread. Okay, now we're going to look a little bit here at the TD scores. Brees Hall, obviously, Jalen Warren, DK Metcalf, Justin Fields. Look, these are all guys that I could see potentially scoring. I would just caution people because I would say for these people right here, right? Somebody out of this bunch, at least one or two, are going to be scoring the football. Okay, we know that. I would just caution that this is a game, when we look at the total, that is only 38.5. This is a quite low total. So don't go crazy betting any of these props because you're probably not getting a lot of opportunities for touchdowns. If I was to bet, which I'm not going to be, but if I was to bet out of all of these, I would consider the plus 425 on a Fryermuth or a plus 400 on Jonnu Smith or the Steelers defense plus 47.5 or 475. Because when you look at these two, right? If the Steelers get down to the red zone, these tight ends, these are guys that can score. Fryermuth can score, Jonnu Smith can score, and you're getting them at a plus 400. Really, really a cool odds there, right? I really, really like that. The Steelers defense, Justin Fields, just going off history. He could fumble, he could throw a pick, and if there's one defense that can make it happen, it's the Steelers. So I don't hate this either. The Jets, on the other hand, I do not see a offense or a defensive touchdown from the Jets in this. Maybe a special teams touchdown, but a defensive touchdown I do not see. Aaron Rodgers, he's notorious for not really turning the ball over too often. And I just don't think in a Mike Tomlin offense, he's going to be taking all that many risks that would lead to a touchdown. He very well could throw an interception, right? But it needs to be going for a touchdown. So I don't see that happening. No TD score. Don't think it's going to happen, but potential flyer, maybe, right? I don't know. That seems like that potentially could be if everybody's just kicking field goals. I would stay away from all of these. It's just this game just feels like it's going to be ugly. So we're going to go up and give our pick for this game, and that pick very simply is going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers. I know that there are so many things pointing to the Jets here. Mike Tomlin as a road favorite. The New York Jets, I feel like are being a little bit like kind of pushed to the side here. We don't actually know what the Steelers will look like. I get it. They are on the road, but there's just something to me that sometimes when you're betting these lines and you're just looking at these lines, you just go, this feels obvious, right? It feels like the Steelers are just the better team here. And yes, 3 is a key number, but it is on the number. So if the Steelers win by 3, your bet pushes. If the Jets lose by 3, your bet pushes. So I just don't, if this was 3.5, maybe I feel a little bit differently because now what we're talking about is the key number. It's now over that key number, right? So I just look at it from the standpoint of sometimes I understand the trends. I understand, that, and there's nothing wrong with betting those trends. It's just I look at it and I go, you know what? This is a game where the Steelers win. They start off hot. And I just think even if the Jets start this game off, and I think the Jets are going to fight really hard. I think they're going to play really hard. I think they're going to, you're going to see Aaron Glenn's fingerprints all over this game, right? This is going to be a team that's flying around, and it's probably going to be one of those things where late Steelers get a touchdown. Steelers get a field goal to make it a 9-point lead or a 6-point lead, and you just kind of go from there, right? That's just what I think is going to happen. So thank you all for watching, and we will see you next time.